A bag contains 8 red marbles, 9 yellow marbles, and 7 green marbles. How many additional marbles must be added to the 24 marbles so that the probability of randomly drawing a red marble is 3/5? So we eventually want it to be 3/5 of the bag are red. So it's what we want over what we have. That's probability. So we have currently 24 marbles, and we currently have 8 red marbles, and that's actually 1/3 of the bag, not 3/5. So how many do we have to add to get this to 3/5? A couple of different options to do this one. Let's talk about plugging in the answers first. So plugging in the answers means I'm going to say I start with 8, and I'm going to add 11 red marbles. But if I add them to the just red, I also added the total. So 24 plus 11. So 8 plus 11 equals 19. 24 plus 11 equals 35. And that cannot reduce to 3/5. So it can't be choice A. So now we can try the next one. 8 over 24. We're going to add 16 to the top, 16 to the bottom. And that gets 24 over 40, which are both divisible by 8, and that reduces to 3/5. So your answer would have to be B. Now, there's another way to do this. It depends on which way you're faster and more precise at doing as to which way you would choose to work this. So we could just say 8 plus x, we don't know how many it's going to be, and 24 plus x equals 3/5. That's what we want it to be. And then you cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you get 40 plus 5x equals 72 plus 3x. Combine your terms, and you get 2x equals 32. All right, subtract 3 from both sides, subtract 40 from both sides. Divide by 2, and you get x equals 16. Either way, you're going to get B. The question is, which way are you fastest and most precise? That's the way you should do it. And the standard xy coordinate plane, point 2, 1, is the midpoint of CD. So CD is a line, and point 2, 1 is the midpoint. Point C has coordinates 6, 8. What are the coordinates of D? Okay, so this is, to get the midpoint, this is a question ACT likes to ask a lot. It's just the average of any 2 points. Let's look at our answers for a minute. See, our x coordinates repeat. So we really don't want to calculate our x coordinates. We want to instead calculate our y coordinates because they don't repeat, even though they have fractions, and fractions may be annoying to deal with. So we have 0.1 y1 plus y.2 divided by 2, because the average of 2 points, equals the midpoint of y. And we're given the midpoint is 2, 1. So it's going to be 1. And we know this point is 8. So 8 plus y2, y coordinate, divided by 2 equals 1. Multiply both sides times 2 to get rid of the times 2 times 2. We get 8 plus y equals 2. Subtract 8 from both sides, and we get y equals -6. So y equals -6 is point G. And there we go, our choice G. At his job, the first 40 hours of each week that Thomas works is regular time, and any additional time he works is overtime. He gets paid $15 an hour for regular time. During overtime, he gets paid 1.5 times as much as he gets paid during regular time. Thomas works 46 hours in 1 week and gets $117 in deductions taken out of his pay. After deductions, how much of Thomas's pay remains for the week? Okay, so let's start with 40 hours at $15. So 40 times 15. And then he's going to get overtime. So let's put the overtime in green. So 1.5 times. So, and he worked 46 hours. So plus 46 minus 40 times 15, which is how much he normally makes, times 1.5, because he gets 1.5 of 15. And then he has a deduction of $117. So we're going to subtract 117 from all that. And now we're going to just figure it out. So we got 40 times 15 is 600 plus 6 times 15 times 1.5. So 6 times 22.5 minus 117. And that's going to be 600 plus 6 times 22.5 is 135. So 600 plus 135 minus 117 equals 618. Just be careful doing this on your calculator that you don't make any silly mistakes. Answer is D. At Sweet Stuff Fresh Produce, the price of a bag of grapes depends on the total number purchased at a time. In 2 trips, Janelle purchased 3 bags of grapes on Monday and 4 bags of grapes on Wednesday. How much money would she have saved if she had instead purchased 7 bags in 1 trip? Okay, so she purchased 3 bags on Monday. That's 3 bags are $3 each, so 3 times 3. And then she did 4 bags on Wednesday, plus 4, and that's at $2.80 a bag, so 4 times 2.8. And then minus, or we can just figure that out if we want to, so it's going to be 9 and 11.2. 9 plus $11.20. And then if she'd purchased all 7 at once, she would have only spent 7 times $2.60. So 7 times 2.6, and that is 18.2. It's nice to have a calculator. So we have 18.2 minus 11.2 minus 9, and that equals $2. She would have saved $2. So 18.2 minus 11.2 minus 9 equals 2. So your answer is J. It's a terrible looking J. J. What is 3% of 4.14 times 10 to the 4th? I'm just going to go ahead and put this in non-scientific notations. 41400, because it's 4 spots after the 4s, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 41,400. I want to know what is 3% of that. So times 0.03. Be sure you're doing 3%. You could say instead times 3 over 100, or you could set this up as a proportion, and you could say x out of 41,400 equals 3 over 100, and see what portion of this cross multiply. Whichever makes more sense to you is how you should do it. And you get, so 41,400 times 0.03 is 1,242, or choice A. What value of x satisfies this equation? There's 2 options you can do here. You could take each of these answers and plug them in for x to see which one, to see when the 2 sides equal. That's one option. It might take you a long time, or you might get lucky. If you do this one, start with choice H and kind of work up and down depending on if it's too big or too small. Or you can solve it. Just be careful with your negatives. So negative 3 times 4x minus 5 is going to be negative 12x plus 15. And that's going to equal 2 times 1 is 2 minus 10x. Combine our like terms, so add 10 to both sides, or subtract 12 to both sides, and then 2 to both sides, and get 13 equals 2x. And then you get x equals 13 divided by 2. All right, so your answer is K. The triangle shown below, what is sine of A? So here, so SOHCAHTOA, sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent, SOHCAHTOA. And so our opposite is this side, opposite from the angle we want. So 7 has to be on top. Actually, we have our answer already, because the only one that has 7 on top is D. So opposite over hypotenuse, 9. So we got it quickly, just without even having to work too hard. I am 100% going to advocate just putting this in your calculator and pressing enter and see what you get. If you do, you get J. I think that's the fastest way to do this one. If you don't have a calculator, you want to change this to positive. So we're going to make it becomes 64 over 27 times 3 over 2, right? And then that's going to become, so if you know what to do with your any number raised to a fraction, so that it's knowing your exponent rules, becomes root 3 64 27 squared. And then we can take the square root of all this and we get 4 over 3 squared, which becomes 16 over 9. Right, 16, 9. You should do the same thing the top and the bottom. That takes more time, is ripe for mistakes, and so I would just advocate putting it in your calculator, and if you have a TI 84 Plus or a TI Inspire, it's just going to give you the answer for you. J. Lotto, good name, begins his back door, so we're going to just make him a little house. Right, so Lotto begins his back door, walks 8 yards east, so 8 yards east, and he goes 6 yards north, so we're at 8 east, and we're going to go 6 north, so 6, 12 yards east, so 12 yards east, and 5 yards north, so 5, to get to his barn door. So let's make him a little barn right here. There we go. About how many yards less would he walk if he could walk directly from the back door to the barn door? So if he could go directly from here to here, how much less would that be? Well, let's just make this into a right triangle. So we have a triangle here. So how far is it our bottom leg? So 8 plus 12 is 20. How about our side leg? Our side leg is 6 and 5, so that's 11. And now we can use the Pythagorean theorem. 20 squared plus 11 squared, 20 squared plus 11 squared equals x squared, or c squared. So 400 plus 121 equals x squared. 521 equals x squared. So that's going to be x equals 22.8, and it says about, so you're not going to get it exactly, so your answer is C. For a given set of data, the standard score Z corresponding to the raw score X is given by this equation. So we have Z and we have X, where I can't remember what that symbol is called, we'll call it U, is the mean set of the data, and this symbol, let's call it squiggly O. I know these have a name, but I can't remember what they are, theta maybe, and this is the standard deviation. If for a set of scores, U is standard is 78, squiggly O is 6. It's gonna be embarrassing that I can't remember what these are called. Anyway, what's the following is a raw score X corresponding to Z equals 2. So we just got to plug these into the equation. That's all it is. So Z equals 2. So it becomes 2 equals, we don't have X. That's what we're looking for. X minus 78. Okay, so minus 78 divided by 6. Let's multiply both sides times 6, so we get 12 equals x minus 78. Add 78 to both sides, we get x equals 90. So your answer is F.